Thanks for hanging out with us, tuning in with us, having fun with us. Jackpot Jerry, Murphy's Law. With me again, my good buddy, Chris Kuhn.
It used to be much easier when we were just talking about barbecue.
Thanks to all of our watchers, all of our subscribers. All right, welcome to this episode of Murphy's Law Podcast. I'm Ian Murphy. My good friend and co-host, Chris Kuhn, is with me again. We've got a couple of things to go over, but the big one is the Health Department. The Assistant Attorney General's office has responded to our petition for the Michigan Supreme Court against the Health Department. This came out actually on Valentine's Day, and I find it kind of funny. It kind of is like a love letter.
It is. Darren's such a sweetheart. All 25 pages of dear, loved, heartfelt emotions for the pig.
This whole thing is really funny.
My first thought after you sent it to me was like, all you kids, I realize there's a push to tell you to go into vocational training. But based on this asshat and Assistant Attorney General, you're qualified to become an attorney yourself. I mean, clearly it can't be that hard. I mean, based on his verbiage and, grammar's a huge thing to me. And how the hell this got passed on your receptionist?
I will say, I did a word count in this document, and Iron Pig is mentioned 102 times in this.
Yeah, but you know what got me the most? The Iron Pig is not referenced once. Iron Pig is referenced. God, asshole, look at the sign on the door.
Get it straight. My name is Ian, not Dan. Crying out loud.
Well, I guess when you dress up like Peter Pan as an attorney.
Yeah, well,
But I still say that happened. Mark and I saw that. We didn't make that up. I mean, it wasn't just the...
No, he was Peter Pan.
Yeah, he was Peter Pan. It was not just the
army dude.
Yeah, the army dude.
We've seen him as...
It wasn't just you can't handle the truth. It was Peter Pan. Full ass tights.
You're
Assistant Attorney General.
But I still want to see it. I wonder if they disappeared that one after we found out about it. But so yeah, what'd you say? 25 pages or something like that? What I found interesting about it is I've read it a couple of times now, and the one thing that stands out more than anything is they still don't address the central question of whether or not the legislature actually had the power to do this, right? This whole thing, what do they call this? The world's tiniest violin?
Mm-hmm.
That's how this reads to me, is that it is just nothing but crybaby bullshit from these people. I mean, right from Jump Street, they try and give a synopsis of the entire case. And it's all about COVID. Look at how bad the mean barbecue man is. They stayed open while everybody else did their part. Like they're throwing the same old arguments from 3 years ago at this case and don't address any of it.
Well, the entire thing is essentially just them time and time again saying, we withdrew our appeal.
Yeah.
So the Iron Pig can't do anything because we withdrew our appeal. They can't turn this into a fight. When we quit, we give up the fight. We quit.
By the way, nice new Risk It for the Brisket Mug Club is officially live and available now.
Mm-hmm.
You can get your mug at ironpigmugclub.com. We'll talk about it a little bit more of that at the end of the show, or right here at the bar. Absolutely, we've got them stocked right here. We can drop ship them to you wherever you are. We've got a few fans overseas on military bases over there, so we can send these bad lads right over to you. Anyways,
back to the plug later.
Back to what we're here to actually talk about.
But yeah, it was just and they think everybody's stupid, and they reference the TMV Associates case. Just barely kind of skim over it, which anybody that's been following us or watching these, the state of Michigan is trying to pull a classic end around and trying to pretend they're dropping the appeal of the case against the Iron Pig because they're putting all their eggs in the basket on the appeal and the TMV Associates case.
Yeah.
Which is where a judge previously ruled that 2253 is constitutional.
So let's give a really quick synopsis of where it all started and where we are right now. So we got fined by the health department. First a cease and desist, then we went to an administrative hearing on the phone, wasn't even Zoom, on the phone. Administrative law judge Kisbet, I think is his name, found us in violation of being open 5 days, which gave us $1,000 times 5, which is a $5,000 fine. Case closed. It's maybe 20 minutes on the phone. I didn't attend it. Our attorney did. We then appealed that administrative hearing, which gave us the opportunity to go to the circuit court. By administrative law, we can then appeal that, and then it goes over to the circuit court. It's either the circuit court in the business owner's home county or the business's home county, which just happens to both be the same area here.
And the first court actually got bounced out of because it was circuit court, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but they said they didn't have jurisdiction to make a ruling on that. So that's how it got bumped up to district.
No. So district was never involved. So the court rule says it goes right to circuit court. Yeah. You might be thinking of one of the mass cases. But anyways, so we got in front of Judge Hunter early in 2021. 22. Judge Hunter ruled in favor of the Iron Pig, overturning the $5,000 fine from the health department. He also severed the entirety of 2253 from law, not just in Otsego County, but because it's a statewide health statute. There's also a local statute. Tune in for that one because that's coming next. But the state statute he severed, right? So then the health department, the state, appeals Judge Hunter's ruling, which then immediately goes to the Court of Appeals. They also then jumped over the Court of Appeals with a bypass.
Same day or the very next day, tried to go to the Supreme Court.
I think it was the next day, actually.
Yeah, didn't even wait for the Court of Appeals to hear it or even consider it. Jumped it.
That's the famous line that we have on video of Judge Hunter going, "Oh well, so we're here on a motion that's we're just wasting our time."
Yeah, you wasted all of our time.
Yeah,
I remember that here.
And good for him for kind of identifying that. But so they appealed to the Court of Appeals, and then they did a bypass application to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court then later came back and said, well, if anything, before we hear it, we're going to give the Court of Appeals a chance to hear it. The health department in the state ended up giving up their appeal. Conveniently, after they got a favorable ruling from the Court of Claims, which the toehold on that one is not anything close to what ours is, as we've discussed in previous podcasts, right? So administrative law, circuit court, appeals, they jumped over to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said Court of Appeals should hear it first. Health department said, oh, we got a constitutional ruling and an equal court over there. Iron Pig, we don't need this.
They didn't say that. They just said, Iron Pig, you win. We give up.
That's
if you read the 25 pages, that's what Darren said, was that we
cemented our victory, I believe we've
given up.
Yeah, when DHHS voluntarily dismissed its own appeal in the Michigan Court of Appeals, Iron Pig cemented its victory in the circuit court, where the judge had overturned an administrative fine assessed to the Iron Pig.
And when has anybody ever
flouting certain COVID-19 orders?
Flouting, there's that word again. And when has a state of Michigan, or any state for that matter, or government?
It took them one sentence to get COVID-19 in, by the way. This is the health law that's been on the books since, 76, I think?
Yeah.
Right? It took them one sentence to get COVID-19 in there.
Well, and I also noticed too, again, grammar. When Darren cited it as a disease. COVID-19 was never a disease, and it's still not a disease. It's a virus. But he cites the disease at a time where we didn't know how the disease was going to affect people.
Right. Yeah. And makes it all about the COVID and the COVID fear. And even later on in the spring, they've always picked on us for the brisket logo, which we've tirelessly explained to everybody that it had nothing to do with risking getting COVID to go eat dinner or lunch or have brisket. It was risking everything that we have in order to stand up for what we believe was done wrong. And there were other ways to do it.
Well, and looking back now, I mean, it could have just as easily went the other way. But looking back now, we were right.
I just thought of this. So, okay, where we're going with is, so you see Chris's shirt that he's wearing is the Kiss Me I'm Contagious shirt that we came up with.
I wore this for Darren today.
In early 2021 for St. Patty's Day, and we took a whole bunch of shit for that as well, because people thought that we were, poking an eye at COVID. Yep. And it was a St. Patty's Day t-shirt. And,
It was
got
just
in
pure fun.
it got in Newsweek. I mean, it
Oh,
was
God, it was nationwide.
kind of a big deal. So those are actually on sale on our website, ironpigmerch.com. Another shameless plug.
Plug number 2.
But as well as a new shirt for this year. But this now also gets
These hats
injected
and sweatshirts are also available.
into all of it, of course. How do you think we pay for all this nonsense, right? This now, so in previous court cases, even when they found me in contempt of court, so when I was in court in Ingham County in front of Judge Kennedy, this guy actually has a sense of humor, for one, understood what we were actually trying to do. We weren't trying to flout anything. We weren't trying to poke our eyes.
Yes, you were. You were trying to flout.
He actually made a joke and said, risk it for the brisket. I like that. I wish we had that on video.
You know, that's the funny.
Wish we
the
did.
funniest thing is, you know, as much weight as they put into that brisket for the brisket campaign and all the Karens throughout the country and all the haters, do you people not realize that it was a drunken night out back in the Pigloo with about 10, 15 of us just cranking up music, having a good time, and it just slipped out. It wasn't a devoted campaign where we sat down and brainstormed.
Ooh, yeah. Let me think of something I can just spit in everybody's eye about.
Oh my God.
Like,
Matter of fact, I remember correctly, I was playing with a flamethrower that night.
Yeah. Oh, that we have on video, actually.
Of course we do.
Insert here. But so they, right from Jump Street, they make it all about COVID and all about, the risk it for the brisket campaign that they use to get people to come into the restaurant. Then they spit in people's eyes with the Kiss Me I'm Contagious shirts later. What they actually never noted was in early 2020, we sold sweatshirts and T-shirts with a pig drinking a Corona beer on it.
Yep.
And said, here's to 2020. But nobody ever was outraged about that one. Nobody ever went to Newsweek and said, oh, look at, they're making fun of people that are dying from COVID, or they're getting sick from COVID, or that, they're murdering in the street, or that they're dragging into the restaurant.
You know what else they didn't notice or didn't mention? You delivering free food to people that were in need.
Oh, yeah.
The Iron Pig being turned into a food bank.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Drop off, pick up whatever you wanted, whatever you needed. It was here.
That's easy though, because it doesn't fit their narrative. Whoever they need to be, whether it's our so-called haters or if it's these administrative people.
How about one
right
further?
Here?
How about the tornado?
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. Wait, that's right. There wasn't any other local restaurants that were passing out free food to people and the workers.
There might have been some that were doing, but I don't. None of that is really the reason why because you help too, right? I mean, it's to me, that's not, we fill a need when the need is there, right? Whether it's because there's no other barbecue in town.
It's a human thing to do.
Or because we have the facilities, we have the manpower to be able to do those things. And that was why World Central Kitchen reached out to us and helped us put together 200 of those meals, or God, I forget how much we ended up doing, 250, something like that. I mean, the
hell, more
first
than that.
day.
I mean, that was just where they kicked in. Because I remember we ran around and
they paid for. That wasn't what
they paid for. I mean, not to mention the linemen and the first responders and the people that lost their homes that were out back. The people that we ran food to at the intersections, all the state troopers and the city police officers and deputies.
I don't ever, nor will I ever expect anybody to be a lot of this type of stuff. And this is a rabbit hole to go down, but I was having a conversation with somebody about it the other day. In light of a lot of the things coming out now about masks, have virtually no efficacy on any of it.
Which that's actually cited in the 25 pages.
So we're getting a lot of these other things now. Natural immunity, it doesn't matter. So a lot of these things now coming around, and hindsight, of course, is 2020. But I don't ever expect the majority of these people that came after us to ever apologize. I haven't had one yet, but I don't know. It's
I just have a hard time.
Very ingrained in who they are still.
When our own governor spent, what was it?
And wear a mask. I don't give a shit if you do or don't.
10, 15, 20 minutes here after the tornado.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I don't understand. And chaps my ass is the hypocrisy.
Chaps my ass. I love that. You don't hear that one enough.
Well, Darren's not going to say it. It takes too much thought to put that together. But
I did find out that it was Camlet, not Peter Pan.
Oh, it was
I'm trying
Camlet.
to find the pictures now.
Oh, Mark's on it. We're gonna air Camlet or Hamlet. But my highlighter before we started recording, I couldn't help myself. The merits of what undergirds Iron Pig's crusade, however, are not before this court. Do you know what undergird means? This is a guy that's got a law degree. To secure or fasten from the underside, especially by a rope or chain passed underneath. What the hell does that have to do with the case? Undergird. So the merits of what the strap underneath the Iron Pig's crusade? Again, hell of vocational school. You guys, any of you can go be a lawyer. I mean, this guy can.
The real question is, how much of this did he actually write? I mean, they do have.
Did you think it was just a big word?
Well, I mean, there's another assistant attorney general in here, Daniel Ping. I don't know who he is. Okay, I had to make sure it wasn't Danielle. They do have clerks, and
nobody proofreads.
David's not the best speller either. I mean, we have, if you go back and read our brief, there's a wonderful little Easter egg in that one. We might have actually mentioned it before, but
I still like that, ripen into a full-blown crusade.
Yes. So that's what they're attempting to do with this whole thing, is it moves away from the factual things that we present in our brief. And you can actually see that they're really kind of scared of this whole thing. So right from the beginning, it's all about COVID. Oh, this took place back in 2020 when we were first grappling with COVID, yada, yada, yada. We're openly defying the epidemic order. See their Facebook page.
Grappling with COVID-19. Learning what the disease was, how it was transmitted, how it could impact and even end lives by the thousands each day in our country.
For example, the Iron Pig advertised a Thanksgiving Eve party occurring on Wednesday, the 25th.
It was a hell of a night.
It was fun.
It really was.
That was the entirety of the point. Pardon me, I'm taking drugs.
That's right. Yeah, and I like this too. Governor Whitmer declared a state of emergency, invoking the emergency powers available to the governor under Michigan law. Bullshit, which is what we've been talking about the whole time. 2253 is not constitutional. And that's, again, even cited later on, where he talks about the health department director issuing an emergency order gathering the face mask order under 2253 on November 15th of 2020. The order came amid a dire surge in viral transmission and death in our state. Between October 1st and November 15th, Michigan's COVID rate of positivity increased by 225%, despite only a 78% increase in administered tests.
Right.
But there was no flu. But again, the mask, as we talked about a few minutes ago, they don't do shit. It's been proven. The CDC has come out and said they don't do shit.
They don't. There's one thing in here I want to find, because they talk about, I think it's right up in the beginning. It kind of is, let's see. So they talk about a couple of rules that are involved. MCR 7.305B, right? I don't want to get too nerdy about this stuff, but it's just a rule that's citing some things that must be shown, right? We must say these things are relevant in order for this case to proceed. And B, it talks about grounds, 7.305B. Again, I'm not a lawyer. This is just from their thing. Grounds. The application must show that, one, the issue involves a substantial question about the validity of a legislative act. Does that not? Did Hunter not answer that question?
Yep.
Right. So I would have to say, yes, it does involve a substantial question about the validity of a legislative act.
Otherwise, it would not have been addressed by Hunter.
Two, the issue has significant public interest, and the case is won by or against the state or one of its agencies or subdivisions by or against an officer of the state. The issue has significant public interest. Yes. Three, the issue involves a legal principle of major significance to the state's jurisprudence. Yes.
No. You're wrong. This is all about the fine.
Like,
It's just about the fine.
it doesn't even all of those. So basically what they're saying is with the assistant attorney general, and I would love a reporter, an actual journalist, if there are any out there still, to go ask the attorney general if the health law that shut down our state for how many months is not of some significant public interest. Because they're basically saying that this doesn't. 2253, the health law, is not of significant public interest.
Oh, come on. The kids were only out of school for a few weeks, wasn't it?
Like, what the what?
Wasn't it just a few weeks kids were out of school based on the governor's debate?
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
I
But yeah, I read the same thing. I mean, when you read through there, because the state, again, it's just hammering the fact that this is only about the $5,000 fine. And because they withdrew their appeal,
Yep.
The point is moot.
Yep.
It should just be thrown out.
voluntarily
because-
dismissed.
Iron Pig, not the Iron Pig, Iron Pig is on a crusade to go against the state of Michigan,
Yes.
against all administrative law,
So
including the governor, which prior you said the governor was not subject.
to that point, let me find that section. So what's really funny is they say so about this other case, this TNV. The reason all of a sudden they gave up, the state, the health department gave up their appeal. They have this other ruling with T&V that basically is what they want to see happen. It causes a conflict, though.
Mhm.
We've got a yay and we've got a nay on equal court. So it actually causes the judicial conflict that is now happening with 2253.
Well, and bring everybody up to speed again. TNV lost that case, so now the case is under appeal with the appellate court,
Right.
and there's been no ruling. But yet, conveniently, the state of Michigan dropped everything, and they even cite that in the brief in the 25 pages in here, where it basically says you're on a witch hunt.
In an effort to conjure some
There it
form
is.
of prejudice, Iron Pig engages in speculation.
Pointing to proceeds in a different
But
case.
wait, period. Iron Pig engages in speculation. Then why did they give up their appeal? Which, by the way, Dana Nessel urged the Court of Appeals to reverse this decision.
Yeah.
But then a year later gave it up after they happened to get a constitutional ruling.
Not to mention, again,
But we're the ones that are conjuring up some sort of speculation, right? We've seen nothing but mostly bias in all of these hearings, whether it's our administrative hearings, our other hearings, or our colleagues' hearings that we've seen around the state, right? There's huge bias. Nobody has had, we're basically the only ones that have any kind of win, thank you, Judge Hunter, and actually seeing what's going on. It's not COVID, it's about the way this law was used.
and I still find it ironic too that Darren Fowler himself disputed the validity of the TNV Associates case and asked it to be thrown out completely because there was no merit, because they're already out of business.
Right.
So, in declaratory action, he himself said that it should be thrown out and dismissed because there was no TNV Associates anymore.
It's so hypocritical in both cases.
Because it went his way. Now all of a sudden they're like,
Right.
oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Yes, we're using that
There's our
one.
golden
We're
ticket.
using that one.
There's our
The
golden
same
ticket.
case you asked to be dismissed.
So now they're accusing us of engaging in speculation.
Speculation.
Pointing to proceedings in a different case in the Court of Appeals, in which, by the way, Darren Fowler, as soon as T&V came out with that constitutional ruling, he sent that file right to the Court of Appeals.
Well, and we've said it before. So here we
So
are.
come on. If you don't see how much bullshit this is, Iron Pig says it anticipates DHHS will collaterally enforce 2253 against the Iron Pig with T&V.
Even though TNV was not decided.
What they're confused about here is they presume what we're talking about is them coming back on us again. No. What I'm concerned with is you asshats using 2253 the next time.
Well, as they
Not
are
this
still,
time, not the one that we've already got ruled off the books and won. It's the next time.
as they're still doing in nursing homes.
Because a lot of people forget, I was found in contempt of court. So if a pandemic breaks out tomorrow and they use 2253, which is unconstitutional right now, by the way,
which is
I have to shut down. I cannot. I do not pass go. I do not collect $100. I go directly to jail. If I keep this restaurant open, I will be found in contempt of court again.
it's unconstitutional, but yet they're still using it.
To this day, they're still using it
Still using nursing homes
because they only think it applies in Otsego County.
Help me understand how something can be ruled unconstitutional, but yet the executive branch continues to do so.
Because of what we're seeing happening with this judicial conflict, right? So they came out and they wanted more clarification after our case was a win. They wanted to stay on the ruling, the state did, and more clarification as far as jurisprudence and how it affected the rest of the state. Well, it severed the fucking law from the rest of the state. That's how it affected.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not for the executive branch to say, well, we don't like that answer, so we're going to keep doing it.
right.
That's not how separation of powers works.
But precisely. So they're actually engaging in this kind of hilarious hypocrisy once again, where they're accusing us of creating this speculation around T&V, when in fact it's exactly what they wanted, right? So they're saying that, oh well, anyways.
They just keep going back to the fact that they're trying to make it sound like the whole case was strictly about the fine, the $5,000 fine. And that's what they keep going back to in these 25 pages. The fine doesn't matter anymore. We gave up. The Iron Pigs wanted to win. They won. We're taking our ball and going home. There's no point in us fighting anymore. Because they think, honestly, everybody is that fucking stupid.
This is where, if I had a copy of the stipulation order, so when we originally began this appeal, it was a hybrid appeal. It was a bifurcated appeal. It was an appeal of this administrative ruling, and we threw in a bunch of these other charges, including Whitmer, and I think Nestle was in there, where there were some federal takings clauses, state takings clauses, a bunch of other stuff, right? At the end of the day, what they stipulated to was the constitutionality of 2253 and whether or not this court rule or this was a rule, an APA defined rule. At the end of the day, it's unconstitutional. They don't get to say, well, it was just because it was an administrative appeal. No, it's what you stipulated to.
Judge Hunter ordered it severed from the health code, which means it's not just unconstitutional for the Iron Pig in the case and the $5,000 fine. It cannot be used, period. But yet here we are. They are still using it. Yeah, I still like one of the last paragraphs in the 25 pages too. It was Iron Pig followed up with its Kiss Me I'm Contagious campaign, which, Darren, this is for you. I literally dug it out of the closet just for this episode. Literally. But I like how dramatic this is. Both campaigns date back to a time, the other one being Risk It for the Brisket, when there was no vaccine for what this court had already identified as one of the most threatening public health crises of modern times.
What page is that on?
That was one of the last ones. I had to blow my shit up because my eyes are going to hell.
Yep. Yeah, like many people and businesses, Iron Pig disagreed with measures DHS used to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in late 2020. But while most bars and restaurants nonetheless work to comply with those temporary indoor, you see it pisses me off.
But you know what? I want to point again.
Everybody else did it, chum boy. Why didn't you do it?
How many cases from the Iron Pig?
None.
None
cases
during the entire time. But yeah, you know, it's funny because I like that line. While most bars and restaurants, I can think of damn near everyone here in town and several throughout northern Michigan that skirted the damn rules and laws.
Did so brazenly.
Whether it be the mandatory temperature checks of employees, the sign-in sheets, it was all horse shit. I mean, moving their shanties from outside to inside or in the deck and out the deck. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have a hard time explaining to my kids that, yeah, we used to have to go out to eat and sit in an ice shanty while condensation was dripping off the roof onto our fucking plates.
Yeah.
Because that was healthy.
Right.
That was much safer than the air scrubbers in restaurants.
It's stupid. Some of the dumbest things, the curfew.
Oh, yeah. How can you forget about that?
People really, really forget about the curfew. They actually told us when you could be out in public eating and drinking. People forgot about that during the election. There was actually a time that the overlord said, you cannot be at McDonald's inside at this certain point.
I know. I
remember be at McDonald's at any point, but
just being the asshole that I am, I remember driving around with the siren from The Purge.
Yeah.
Just being a smart ass because it's like, Okay, 7 p.m. Everybody go home. I think it was 9 p.m. actually. 9 p.m. Go home. Can't be here. Gotta go. No more. Put the fork down. It's 9 p.m. You gotta go. It's like a fat boy being asked to leave a Chinese buffet.
It's just it would. I mean, I kind of when the whole thing comes out and it says you shouldn't pick your nose, you shouldn't put your fingers in your eyes, you should cough in your elbow. Like this is how we're going to stop the spread of the dead.
Cough in your elbow.
Stop the. What does it say right here? Quote. One of the most threatening public health crisis of modern times. I'm not disagreeing with that, but that's literally what they say. Got it. In this, and it's cited from certified questions,
yeah.
Right? They're saying at the end of this thing, it's one of the most threatening public health crises of modern times. But we go back to the beginning up here, and they're trying to tell you that this health law is not, what's the word? Is not of significant public interest.
That's just about the fine.
Like,
remember this one? Cough in your elbow, but then bump elbows, not fist.
No, mind. I can't even.
You can't fist bump. Because how many times everyone shake somebody's hand and like,
You still do it.
you want me to bump elbows the same elbow I just coughed into? But hey, look what's happened to COVID. When's the last time we heard about COVID on the news?
Yeah, not very much.
February 23rd.
No,
The flu is back.
But the emergency orders, it's actually not over yet.
Oh no, yeah, I did hear that.
May whatever.
May. They predicted they've got a date set already.
The president has decided that the emergency will be over then.
Done. Even though he announced 2 months ago on national television that the pandemic was over. He's already predicted the date where it's over. But he announced 2 months ago on television that the pandemic was over.
I don't even get it.
His own handlers had to reel him back in, going, "Oh, shit, you can't say that. We have too much money invested here."
This is the entire point of our petition in front of the Michigan Supreme Court, is saying that the executive branch has too much power. And most of it was given to the executive by the legislative, or has allowed the executive to continue and use that power.
I think it's,
and the CDC is one of those federal, obviously our health department here in this state, while it has a very important role, it's creating laws that impact.
Well, even
lives.
Look at the damage of one person, Lisa Peacock, that she inflicted on the entire Northern Michigan area, all the districts involved. What was it? 3 counties, 4 counties? 4 counties.
4.
One person. I feel horribly bad for everybody that works for the health department because of her shitty decision.
Yeah. Ultimately, she was the one. She was the one that was hired. She was the one that was appointed. She was the one that got all the money. She was the one that got paid throughout the pandemic. She had a nice cushy contract.
Equally as much as I feel bad for the school board.
She utilized the local version of 2253, which is 2453, which is the one that we're coming after next. I'm suspecting in the next 30 days that we will probably file at least 1 or 3 challenges up in northern Michigan in 3 different counties to challenge 2453. And that is, the wording is nearly identical, which says the local health director may limit the gathering of people for any reason and may establish procedures.
Well, in 2253, I mean, people hear us talk about that all the time. And we got to stop and keep putting it back in terms that people understand, which is why I still can't believe people that say elected Whitmer again. But not being able to buy hardware or paint or seeds. Not being able to go on a boat with an engine.
Wearing a mask outside.
Wearing a mask until you sit down to eat, then you take it off. Because the air is different when you eat or drink.
Yeah.
Once you sit down, you can take it off.
How about your pod? Remember your pod?
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had that graphic right now.
Yep.
There shouldn't be any more than 12 people in your home for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Right?
And nobody...
Keep it to close flame of your pod.
And even when you use an igloo, it's got to be people from the same household.
Just ridiculous.
Nobody outside. The same thing that led to local law enforcement being called to our high school for high school students refusing to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And escorted off property.
Yep.
You want to talk about things that seem, I remember the car wash by our house used to have a sign that said, "Those who fail to learn history's lessons are bound to repeat them."
Bound to repeat them, yeah.
Sounds kind of weird, but it seems like other times where I can't believe that law enforcement was called to escort high school students off the property for not wearing a fucking mask, to which now the CDC and everybody in general has accepted the fact that they did absolutely nothing.
Right.
But these kids are going to carry that with them the rest of their lives.
Right.
The emotional trauma, not just those kids, but all kids that had to do remote learning, couldn't go to school.
Here's one. They're pronouncing bathroom, the younger kids.
Oh, don't. What?
Bathroom. Because you cannot pronunciate the
with a mask on.
sound with a mask on. So they just use an F. Because they
now it's a bathroom.
So it's bathroom. So they are actually speaking differently because they've had masks on and never should have had a mask on to begin with.
No,
right?
Especially forced.
Older folks, right? They're the ones that are most susceptible to it.
Hey, whatever
floats your
boat.
They're
knock
the
yourself
ones
out.
that should do it, right? When I visited my grandma in the hospital, you're damn right I put a mask on. Fine.
I was actually in
I don't think they would let me in regardless, but it didn't matter.
the hospital in Petoskey last week. They still want you to wear a mask.
Yeah, it's weird.
But here's the funny thing. So I know it's hard to believe, but I tried to play nice. So I put a mask on when we walked in because, Lauren's not nearly as confrontational as I am. And I sat there with that fucking chin diaper on, driving me fucking nuts, knowing that it did absolutely nothing until I watched 3 hospital employees walk by me with no mask on their face. You best believe I was like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
Say something, I dare you. Because when 3 of your own employees walk by without wearing one, but you expect me to?
How much more science has to come out that says that they don't work? Right, we're getting a little off topic, but I mean, it's kind of the same fucking thing over and over. And it's just, I know it's a virtue signal thing. It's almost a political badge. Whatever it is. I don't know. People are afraid to not be seen with them. People are, it's so weird. People need to get over it. But requiring them in a medical facility is crazy,
especially when your providers are not wearing them themselves.
If you're performing surgery, then it's probably appropriate that they're
because you probably shouldn't be spitting into an open wound.
Large particulates. That's what they're designed for, not
and it's the nose are just as much to protect the doctors and the nurses as they are the patients.
These people that argue the word science refuse to actually look at the science after the fact, now that we have all this data to look at, and natural immunity and even the immunity that you get after having COVID once. Am I wrong?
Again.
No. Did I read correctly that if you've had COVID, you're actually more protected than if you had never had COVID and the boosters?
How many boosters?
All of them, any of them.
4 or 5?
And then Ann Arbor, Michigan is now requiring students to have the bivalent booster.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
If you want to come back to school, they're requiring boosters for their students. Nobody wants to talk about this shit.
Here's the thing though. I mean,
but they're still pushing masks at the hospital and at the clinic and freaking vaccines for kids to come back.
Talking about this, so I don't
like anti-science.
I don't see it as getting off track. I really don't, because I think it's right on track, because this whole thing is about the state of Michigan trying to convince the court that it's strictly about the $5,000 fine, and the point is moot.
Right.
It's not. It's about everything that we just talked about and are still talking about, to make sure they don't do it again.
Right.
To make sure the next created pandemic or disaster doesn't turn into another way for them to abuse.
And it's not just the health department. It's now MIOSHA is fining businesses as well, right? We keep talking about this case.
Well, on a national level, you got like the FBI getting weaponized. You've got Homeland Security. Yep. You've got the health department. You've got
they're way too big.
Yeah,
way too big.
You got the EPA. Everybody is getting involved, and it's all part of the executive branch, whether on national or state level. It's all executive branch abusing the powers that they don't have.
Where's the law coming from? Like David said, where's the law? What branch is it coming from? And is it filled with all the details? Right? Like that. those are the things that everybody needs to be looking at when these laws start coming down. Of course, most people don't even look at, things that are coming down anymore because politics is.
Yeah, but I still don't think it's not getting off track. But I thought it was worth doing this episode to at least let people know that the state of Michigan, the Attorney General's office, really thinks that you are that stupid, that you're dumb enough to believe them, that it's strictly about a $5,000 fine.
Yeah.
That you don't believe your lying eyes and trust them. It's nothing to do with, emergency orders. It's strictly the mean barbecue man arguing about a $5,000 fine, which the point is moot because they gave up the fight.
Yep.
You cemented your victory. You won.
They say it like 3 or 4 times in there that, they won. They won. They won. Why are they still going? Why are they going?
Pig won.
And you can read in this thing the fear that they have about the consequences of the Supreme Court actually looking at this.
Oh, and they actually,
reining in the administrative branch, because there's a whole subset of judges and everything that adjudicate all this administrative law.
Oh, and they actually cited,
imagine
the dissenting opinion of Bernstein and who's the other justice? Viviano. Yeah, they actually cited in that 25 pages.
Yep.
That, there's dissension, but they also tried to discredit dissension, which, of course, that's those 2 judges, Viviano and Bernstein, saying, you know what, we need to hear this case to make sure the shit doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew what the hell to do before. That's one thing they actually did get right in here, was that it happened at a time where nobody knew, nobody understood. Now, unfortunately, they really fucked the football on that one. But, they were right. Nobody knew what to expect, what was going on. I think even you and I had fear for the first couple of weeks. We all bought into the 14 days to slow the curve until it turned into
3 years.
Yeah.
Right. It's not over. It's not over till May.
Yeah, it's over till was it May 14th?
Not over till the old man says so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Mr. Science himself.
I hope he said it in his phone, because the son of a bitch is not going to remember what day he said it for what time. Or nor is he going to know what day it is.
Nope, not at all. So this is it's posted somewhere. It's probably on Facebook. We'll make it available. Read it. It's pretty entertaining. It's
good laugh. A lot of the shit a lot of it's just painful. This one is actually entertaining.
Yeah. It's in stark contrast to our petition, which talks about the law and how it was originally designed to be used and how to unwind all of this power that they have. And they don't talk about any of it because this was just an administrative fine to them.
No, but this, the average layman, you don't have to be a lawyer to read this and tell that the state of Michigan thinks you're stupid.
Yeah.
They think you're a dumbass and that they know way better than you. And I'm sorry, but any man that wears tights should not be practicing law, period.
So pissed I can't find that.
A few good men, not how you run a defense or a legal campaign. I guess as an attorney, you always got to be an actor. But dear God, stick to what you're good at, and being an attorney is not one of them.
I'm not impressed so far, but he doesn't need to impress me. He only needs to impress the people that appoint him.
Oh, he did not impress Judge Hunter.
No,
that was pretty entertaining.
And he's got a copy of this thing right here too. So we'll see what happens. The next step is we're hoping to see some amicus curiae, which is briefs in support or against potentially. I doubt anybody's would go against the state on this one, but I have no timeline on when to expect to hear a yay or nay. If they're going to take this up. We've made it very, very difficult for them to ignore.
Yeah. You haven't just gone away quietly and peacefully. And again, the TMV, it hasn't been ruled on yet.
Nope.
So that could be ruled unconstitutional as well. It could be overturned.
And I'm hoping that they get word that we're coming for 2453, the local version of this, which is what gave Lisa Peacock the wherewithal the Friday before school started back in 2022 or whenever, 2021, to put masks on the kids right before they came back from summer break. That's the one we're coming after next, based on Hunter's decision, based on INRI certified questions, based on a couple of Supreme Court decisions. So,
I think I just realized there's a new form of birth control. Just hearing Lisa Peacock's name.
Yeah.
I mean,
She's landed somewhere. I'm sure she got herself a cushy job somewhere, but good
God.
riddance. I hear the new health officer is much more
It wouldn't be hard to improve the position.
I I can't argue with that whatsoever. I never had issue with her whatsoever, never had to deal with her, but once it doesn't
Oh,
work.
but
She gone.
I mean, you
Bye, Felisa.
you missed your opportunity to present her with the honored business of the year.
Oh, I know, right? That would have been, yeah. Like
Oh, we
that,
have to
like
talk
that.
back.
Have you seen the video of that creepy chair or the jury foreman for this Georgia Trump trial that was going on? This creepy
No.
chick. Oh well, I won't even tell you about it. She just looks really weird. She's gleefully kind of giggles, and it's very weird. But she's on some weird media tour right now. But anyways, one last thing to mention: we were talking about the Mug Club that we now have. It's available online. Check out ironpigmugclub.com.
Or stopping in the bar.
Stop in the bar. We've got them here. There's a couple of different membership levels. There's a $19.99 a month.
Monthly. Yep.
Yeah, we've got an annual for I think like $199
And a lifetime for $2.99.
and then lifetime for $299. And lifetime comes with one of our Fuel Pass NFTs, which gets you the tickets to tons of discounts.
Oh, 10% off food.
Yeah. Merch discounts,
Any mug member gets
backstage passes. Obviously, everybody gets
$99 domestic drafts, $3.99
Yep.
craft beers.
Yep.
Anytime that the bar or restaurant's open.
Yep. And then what I think we're gonna do, what do we decide? Like $1.50 off cocktails.
Yep, like $1.50 off.
Again, these are 20 ounces. So we don't even offer 20-ounce glasses of beer. They're only 16.
So if you get a mixed drink in this, I don't want to hear shit about anybody complaining about lack of alcohol.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's worth it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we just upped it right there.
That's worth it right
Exactly.
Because everybody wants to be seen with this son of a bitch. Because I can't wait. I'm gonna go upstairs today and I'm gonna keep drinking out of it.
So anybody that follows us that's looking to support our efforts going forward, this is one way to do it. $19.99 a month. Join our Mug Club. We appreciate all the
Don't forget the
support.
Freedom Wall of Fame.
You get your name up on our Freedom Wall. The NFT is a big deal too, because we're trying to put together this class action lawsuit, and any money that we win from that, you get to share in that as well. And an NFT gets to be sold and passed on, and you can do all kinds of stuff with it.
You get meet and greets with people like Dave Landau and exclusive VIP access. And
speaking of Dave is our brand ambassador for Fuel Pass, and he's got a special out. I'm glad you mentioned that. He's got a new comedy special out that he filmed in Southern Michigan a month or so ago called A Prison 10. And I want to get the website correct. I think it's aprison10.com. $10 you can download his latest comedy special. It's hilarious. This dude is so funny. And we miss him because he's not on Louder with Crowder right now because they are going through some stuff. But we want to give a shout out to our good buddy and brand ambassador for Fuel Pass, Dave Landau.
Dave's been a great asset, a great partner.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of time out to help us create this thing.
He's thrown some great jabs at Whitmer.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious stuff. Hilarious. So if you have the time, check out Dave's new special. Join Mug Club.
We actually got to get him a mug.
We will definitely get him a mug club or a mug for sure. ironpigmugclub.com. Check out all the stuff that comes with the Fuel Pass. $2.99, $1.99 for an annual, $19.99 a month. Automatically charges. It's so easy to join. Tons of discounts. Other than that, final word, my brother.
Well, not to mention, you'd be the coolest cat at the bar with one of these.
Yeah.
I mean, other places have mugs. Not like this.
Not like this. Nope. And you're supporting a good effort. I mean, these things are not cheap. And we're going to the Supreme Court. We're filing other things to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen again. We've never created a GoFundMe account. People all the time are asking, how can we help the cause? People, during the pandemic, were writing checks to us and throwing them in the mail and say, oh, this is what I've got.
Just last week, you and I talked about just last week, somebody was wanting to know where they could leave money.
Yeah.
For the legal fund. I mean, people still see the value and want to see the fight continue.
Feel like you should put a Venmo QR code up, and it's like this. So this is the best way that if anybody wants to support our show, support what we do, our legal efforts. Again, Dave doesn't work for free. I wish he did, but he doesn't. And he's so awesome that he's worth every single dime.
Yeah, I'm going to reserve comment.
But of course you will. You've seen him naked. I know. We've heard it before. But anyway, let's wrap it up, man. Thank you guys as always. Again, go check out Mug Club, ironplugmugclub.com. Check out what we got going on, murphyslawpodcast.com. Appreciate you guys always tuning in.
Cheers.